All right, what's up, guys? Back for another video. I hope you guys are liking this series. But today we're gonna be talking about lighting, and as you can see right now, I have some lighting going on, and I'm gonna go over what I use and what everything that I'm doing in terms of like my camera and everything as well. We'll have a whole separate video on just cameras and augmenting quality with cameras in another video. But for this video, we're all about lighting. I'm gonna talk about those back there, how I light myself, what lights I use, what lights I've used in the past, and yeah. So to get this started, my name is Activator. I work in the film industry. I've been working on movies for the last 10 to 12 years, and I thought, why not try to bring some of the aspects of what I know into the stream, hence the camera, and I don't want to say hence the lighting, because my lighting actually is terrible if you think about it. I wish I want to improve, but I haven't done it yet. But let me go over what I'm using and what I think is an acceptable thing for streaming on Twitch. And one being these lights back here that I can simply turn on and off using my phone because of it's connected to my Wi-Fi. And yeah, so I can simply turn these lights on and off. And yeah, let's go over this right now. These lights right here are called life effects. That's LIFX. So the reason I want to talk about lighting is because lighting can really change the mood of a stream. And if you look at someone's stream, lighting can be everything as well as a distraction for you, depending on how you light yourself. I've been in situations where I've had the sun coming through my window back here, and it's so bright that it just like, here, watch this. I'll turn off these lights and I'll open up my window. And you can see just how gross this is. I'm blown out, everything sucks. I mean, I could simply, you know, turn down the exposure and utilize my natural light, but this isn't the quality that I want to go for. I want to have something that's a little more flashy and a little less just like revealing of my room. So what I ended up doing is in the past, I used to hang Christmas lights in the background, and I used to have my own little tiny light in which I'd project a colored light onto a wall using a battery operated light, which I'll show you guys in just a second. But let me go ahead and close this window real quick. So I used to use this battery light, and I'll show you here real quick. So I used to use this. This was a battery operated light that was given to me by a production that didn't need it anymore. And it's kind of cool. It takes a bunch of AA batteries or these little Sony NP batteries. You plug one of these batteries in and you go ahead and turn it on. This used to be my light source. It's a very strong light source, as you can tell. But I used to have this set up on my floor, and I'd add a little bit of a what's called a gel, which essentially would put a little color on this. And I used to stick it down here on the floor, and I would turn it up, add a little color back there, and you can see how it just kind of puts like this nice little ring of circled light behind me, because it just kind of spreads it out there. So in the film industry, you have these things called gels that you put on lights to add different colors and diffusions to like soften up a light or something like that. So I have some green here, I have some blue, and I have some orange. So when I first started streaming, I used to take this gel and I would bend it up a couple times here, get it nice and folded. I would fold it up again, and I would take this source of light that I had and I'd put it through here to add a little bit of color. And if I go to full brightness on this and I kind of just let it sit here in the background, you can kind of see it just adds this wash of color that looks really pleasing to the eye. And it's just sitting back there. Man, I kind of like it right now. I miss this look. I used to use this as a way to backlight myself, just to add a little bit of color. And I had a bunch of different colors here to change it up every now and then. So I'd add a different color, and we'd mix it up. And I'd ask my chat. I used to ask them like, hey, what color do you want? Do you want green, orange? Do you want whatever? It doesn't matter. And I would combine colors, try to make purple, try to make other colors. And that's what I used to do as one source of light. Another thing you can do besides using these little battery operated lights is get yourself some Christmas lights. Now, the reason I used to use these lights wasn't so much because they were Christmas themed, although when it was Christmas, I used to have a really holiday themed Christmas events on my stream, and this would be a nice little back accent to make it seem a little more Christmassy. But I used to plug this in because of the depth of field on this lens making it such a nice little bokeh in the background. So if I go ahead and plug these in here. So back a long time ago, this is what I ended up using as my lighting. And if I put this far back in the frame, watch, you see how these look, right? And when I start to back these up, you're gonna see the bokeh of these grow a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger. As I back it up, you see them turning into these little circles, right? What I used to do is that used to be my source of lighting. It was a little something pleasing for the eye to see the bokeh change, because I used to have the lights coming in on a window by my side, so it started out really, really blurry, and it would slowly come into focus, as well as add this little orange glow that just looks kind of nice. So that's another way you can add a little bit of source of lighting, and maybe this isn't really for you, but it's kind of a cool look, and yeah, so that's another source. One other big thing that I use for lighting isn't anything special. It's probably something you have on your desk right now as you are sitting there, and that is my monitors themselves. Right now, I literally have 3 monitors turned on, and when I turn them off, you can see just how dark it gets. The natural light, let me go ahead and turn off this last monitor here. This is the light in my room without any, or in my office, I should say, without, there's nothing turned on. This, I literally use my monitors as my light. So if I turn back on all these monitors, you can see just what they're all doing as they slowly start to come on and add a little bit of illumination to my face. So I've been doing this ever since I started, and because I have the benefit of this camera that I have, this camera can see into pretty much a black hole because of how good Sony's sensor is on the A7 series. So right now, that is all I'm using for lighting up my face. And when I combine that with just adding a little some sort of accent of my little 2 backlights here, it makes for just a nice overall pleasing view, or pleasing image to the eye. I literally have a nice soft light wrapping around my face from all my monitors. My front monitor being a little bit darker, this monitor always being a little bit brighter, and I always have white windows open. I utilize the light mode in a lot of applications when I'm streaming, just to add a little bit of light on my face from this monitor. And same with my OBS on my stream PC. I turn that on to a white mode, or a light mode, to be able to get a little bit of light on my face from that side. And then I have my my game PC, my middle monitor here that you're seeing. And that can sometimes change things up too. And let's say I wanted to add a little bit of color to my face, you know, I can just go over here and try to change my my wallpaper, even to something, you know, if you start to watch me as well as my wallpaper, I'll bring this back over here. And if I change this over here to something, you know, let's say something like this, you're gonna see that this is a little bit of blue, a little bit of orange in there, and you know, this is very heavy on the orange and blue, and it's very extreme. And so when I switch back, you can see how much warmth that puts on my face as opposed to the original wallpaper, which is this. So you can kind of mess around with that, and it kind of gives you a nice little way to augment a white balance to your camera rather than changing the white balance on your camera, if you ever choose to. Your wallpaper or whatever window you have open. I used to, back in the day, I would actually, and if I open up a pink image and I bring this over here, you can see just how much pink is being applied to my face. And even as I move it around, you can kind of see what's happening. And I used to add that. I used to have just a little source of color off to the side to give myself a little bit more of a look. Like right now I have it very shrunken down this window, but the more I open it up, the more pink is added to me. So you can see just how much that will change something. You can literally utilize your monitors as a light source if your camera allows for it. There are a lot of options out there with lighting. You can get something on a stand. You can get these giant ring lights. You can get a nice Chimera square box light, as sometimes they call it on Amazon and stuff. But for the most part, stick with what you have now and start to add to it as you go to see if you can add and try to figure out a way to make your lighting look a little bit more eye-pleasing, and maybe even just a simple lamp in the background or just something will make it stand out that much more and makes it more pleasing to the eye. For the most part, I don't enjoy going into a stream when their whole stream looks like, I don't really like going into a stream where the camera is just like this, you know what I mean? There's no there's nothing going on in the scene to make it visibly pleasing to the eye. And as much as this angle might be kind of cool, that only gets you so far in terms of my eye to make you stand out a little bit more. So when you add a little bit of splash of color or something like that makes you stand out a little bit more, it's just that much more eye pleasing. And you kind of want to go that extra little bit of mile to get yourself something that looks a little bit nicer than just simply placing a camera on your desk, and that's it. So depending on how you like to have yourself lit, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like having these lights in their eyes. I don't know if you've ever tried to play a game on a screen in front of a window that is open. You can see just how hard it is. It starts to mess with your eyes a little bit. It's going to be kind of a distraction when you have a light source right here in front of your eyes. So generally, if you want to do something, try to do something a very soft-ish lighting, and try to have it behind you. Try to use your monitors. Try to splash some light on your wall using a lamp or something like that to have the light bounce back off that onto your face. And it'll be easier for you to function as a human sitting at a desk as opposed to having a giant light or a sun coming in on your face. Some other ideas that you might be able to use, you might be able to, let's say you have an old phone and you want to go ahead and try to use that light somehow. You know, you take a phone and you know there's a sort of a light source, adds a little bit of an edge on you. You can easily, if you have an old phone, you set it plugged in, you plug it into a USB, and you just set it off to the side, and maybe that's gonna be your light source to give you that much more of something. Again, I come from a world that we light scenes and make a scene look as good as it can, and by no means am I trying to do that with my setup. I added just some fluff back here that people tend to like, because these lights, something is so simple as this thing. I think these are about 80 or 90 bucks right now on Amazon. I'll link that down below as well. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You have a lot of different color options to choose from. You literally have the whole spectrum, as well as painting a whole light scene. Let's go ahead and paint, and I can change this whole thing to be red. And let's say I want a little bit of blue in there, so I go ahead and swap down to the blue, and I add a little blue in the middle, and you just paint it in. You paint it where you want it. And maybe I want to get a little green on half of it, so I paint half of that green, and that's it. It's very cool. It's very easy. It uses your Wi-Fi and your phone, and I can control this from anywhere in the world as long as I have an internet connection. I can change these lights, so maybe somehow you can utilize that in the future. But they're really nice. They come in, I think, about a 6 foot or like a 2 meter strand for you to be able to put up anywhere, and they have like these little sticky backs to be able to like stick them onto something if you choose to. Right now I kind of hang it with some almost like double-sided tape, and then I just let this one sit on top of this little dresser behind me. But yeah, so it's kind of cool. It's unique to me. I think it's kind of nice and pleasing to the eye to be able to change those colors on the fly. Lighting can really adjust the way your camera and your situation and your setup looks. So maybe think about using lighting in the future to augment something a little bit different that you haven't really normally done, and give yourself a little bit of source of quality uppage. There's lots of stuff on Amazon. There's a lot of stuff that's cheap. There's a lot of stuff that's expensive. And if you can go batteryless on most of these, you'll be much happier. Again, that little light that I had to swap out that battery every couple hours, and it was kind of weird because it would slowly die down, and then people are like, oh, your light died, and I have to go change it. I don't want to do that. So find a way that can be like powered all the time, and yeah, step up your game, get yourself some nice lighting, and go on from there. But yo, hope you guys enjoy this simple little video here to talk about lighting, and I wish you the best. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them down below. If you have any suggestions, or if you have any ideas that you might want to try and maybe you want to get my input on, feel free to ask me. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Follow me on @TwitchActivator on Twitter. And also follow my Twitch channel, which I'm live Monday through Friday at twitch.tv/activator. I'm live for 8 hours a session, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern, because I live in Brooklyn, New York. And yeah, so come on in, say hi. And if anything catches your eye, feel free to talk to me in chat. Yeah, see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Again, like and subscribe. Help me out. Let's up that sub number. Okay, peace out.